as he's fixing his credit, he's looking at his sister's credit, and she's got an 840 FICO score. It doesn't get much better than that. It only goes to 850. So what did they do? They looked at some of the wins in our channel, and they're like, hey, this bank gave this money, this bank did. And
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott, and today we're going to be talking about really understanding the foundation of what's needed with credit, with finances, with FICO scores, with getting the banks to say yes. And I can personally lead by this because I've had so many people ask lately, and it's driving me crazy. It's the stuff that should have been taught in school, should have been taught at the dinner table. It wasn't. We know this to be true. And because of that, it's held a lot of us back. A lot of people are clueless about their credit report and how it works and why they are where they are. Even if you are in the 800 club right now, congratulations, that's awesome. Most likely, you really don't know how you got there. Most likely, you are very terrified of making any type of changes because you don't want to lose that. And most likely, there's a little bit of a cockiness on your side of like, hey, I can get approved for anything, which it's not true. And so I'm going to share with you guys today a couple stories. I'm going to share with my screen and show you the stuff we're going to be deep diving into today and how to break down all of it. So I am excited to dive in with you guys. And if this is your first time tuning in, then make sure you hit the subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Wherever you listen to your podcast episodes, hit that subscribe button. You will get the newest notification every single Monday when the new episode drops. And then leave a 5-star review. After listening to a few of the episodes, leave that 5-star review because it means a lot. It helps get the word out there. And we're all geared towards educating, motivating, and preparing you to take massive action in real estate, to start a business, to grow a business, to scale your business, to get closer to time freedom and financial freedom down the road. And today I'm going to share more about the credit and financial space because I believe that is the foundational pieces that are needed. And so right here, as you can see, there's 3 groups, Group A, B, and C. And we're going to really be talking about Group A today, which these are the 45 metrics that make up all the rules. It's the checklist on how these banks and lenders are judging us. And all these banks are trying to fit us within their box of lending. They're trying to get you to step right in that box. And what we're going to do when you understand these 45 metrics to a T, because again, this is how underwriting, they're going down the list, checking it off to see, is this accurate? Is this right? Is this person a low risk or a high risk? Keep in mind, they have to lend to us. They want to lend to us. They're just looking for low risk and high risk. When you shoot yourself in the foot by doing all the wrong things on this checklist, then again, they have no other choice but to push you outside of the box and say, no, you're denied because you're a high risk. So what we're going to talk about today is Group A, the 6 boxes that make up your credit profile. There's 10 metrics out of the 45 right here alone that are very crucial. But I can tell there's so many people out there that are clueless behind this piece of it, and they believe that just because they have an 800 FICO score that they can get everything approved. The short and sweet answer to that is you're wrong. That's not the case. And because those rules really matter. You know, if there's bank policies, there's bank rules. So a policy could be like you are applying to the Navy Federal Credit Union, one of the largest credit unions nationwide, the largest. And when you apply for their elite credit card, you must have their elite checking account. If you don't, you will automatically get denied. No ifs, ands, or buts. It doesn't matter what you have or who your uncle is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about your FICO score in that certain circumstance. Also, regional areas. If you are outside of their regional scope of where they work, they will not be able to approve you, no matter how bad they want to, no matter how great you say all the things you say. No matter how great you fit within that box of lending, that one thing outside of their scope, their area, you are automatically denied. So that tells us it's not just about your FICO score. Another reason to understand bank, not just the policies, but bank rules. Have you ever heard of the Chase 2 and 30-day rule? The 2 and 30-day rule, simply, if you have not heard, is if you've been approved with Chase for 2 cards in the last 30 days, you will not get a third one. You will not. Also, there's a Chase 5 and 24 rule. That means if you've been approved for 5 cards with any bank, with any, not just Chase, but with any bank within the last 24 months, that's 2 years, 5 and 24 rule, 5 cards with any banks, including Chase, in the last 24 months, the last 2 years, you will automatically be denied. No matter how great your FICO score is, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to realize it is not just about your FICO score. There's bank policies, there's bank rules. Now, if you're working with a bank, business bank relationship manager, which we have and we give to our members at Credit Counsel Elite, there are techniques, there are strategies to be able to overcome that piece of it. Okay, for the right one, the right contacts can help out overcome some of those business bank, like the bank rules. Right, we've had one of our members get 13 credit cards with Chase. That obviously breaks the 2 and 30-day rule, right? It obviously breaks the 5 and 24 rule. But it is one of those things, if you don't have those contacts, if you don't have those resources, and if you don't know what you don't know, trust me when I tell you, you will find out, okay? So be cautious with it because your credit profile is very critical. It's very crucial. It's important, so don't screw it up. So that's bank rules, bank policies. There's a quick story I'm going to give it to you as well. Excuse me, there was a member of ours that came in very excited, very pumped up, and a lot of us nationwide, Americans nationwide, we think in our head, engraved deep down, like, hey, if I have an 800 plus FICO score, I'll get everything approved. There's like that cockiness of, man, nobody gets there. Trust me, it's very easy to get there. I can show you how to get there in 30 days or less, guaranteed. Step by step, I'll show you how. I'll show you today. I'll show you in just a moment how to get to the 800 club. But check this out. If you don't understand this stuff, you're going to be screwed. So this person came in excited, seeing all the wins within our community and seeing all these testimonies. And he's like, man, I can't wait. You know, as he's fixing his credit, he's looking at his sister's credit, and she's got an 840 FICO score. It doesn't get much better than that. It only goes to 850. So what did they do? They looked at some of the wins in our channel, and they're like, hey, this bank gave this money, this bank did, and this approved. Let's just go and use this list. Let's just apply here. Luckily, they only got to 7 applications because all 7 got denied, even with an 840 FICO score. Denied. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just about the bank. It's not just about your FICO score. It's about the bank rules, the bank policies. There's 45 different metrics. If you don't know them, you are screwed. You're winging it. Stop winging it, America. All right. Again, it's not your fault because it wasn't taught in school. It wasn't taught at the dinner table. I get it. It's not your fault. I'm not beating you up on that, but it is your problem. And problems need to be solved. So let's solve some problems together. Let's dive into the information, because the truth will set you free. The information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. We're going to teach you this stuff today that should have been taught in school. Fair? And I'll be really blunt with you. It's not sexy. This piece of the business is not sexy, but it can be sexy and it can be fun. And I'm telling you, the feeling you will get when you focus the time and energy on this piece of it, it makes life so much easier. You won't have the pain, the frustration, the fear, the anxiety of what if, all these negative things, because you know exactly why you are where you are. You know how to implement and move things around. You know how to stay in the 800 club. You know how to get the best rates. Like, you know these things. Knowledge is power. It's going to break off a lot of fear and insecurities behind this stuff. Okay. So we're going to dive into it. These are the 6 boxes, right? Number 1, you always fix first. So these boxes right here that are circled, those are fix related. There's 6 boxes, 3 are for fix, 3 are for build. Okay. So you always fix first. There's so many Joe Schmoes out there nationwide that are teaching people to just add some authorized users, boost up your score, And yeah, it will boost it up. But have you ever heard the saying lipstick on a pig for real estate? Yeah, just because you painted the foundation that had a ton of cracks in it, yeah, it might look good, but dude, there's still cracks in it. You know what I'm saying? So don't be a fool. At the end of the day, it's important to realize that you don't want to do lipstick on a pig. You want to fix first because the banks will still deny you even if your score is great and it's inflated by authorized users versus they see that you have late payments, collections, derogatory marks. Not good, right? So again, fix first, then build. So let's talk about fix. Number one is I'm going to actually work my way backwards. So let's talk about hard inquiries first. Hard inquiries, it only makes up 10% of your FICO. Now, so many people out there are like, man, my FICO score is in the 500s or 600s because I have too many hard inquiries. That's it. It's like, no, 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 no. That is not why at all. That's not why. Hard inquiries only make up 1 point out of 5 points max. And hear me out on this. The max in total, even if you had like 100 of these hard inquiries, the most it's really going to affect your FICO score is it really caps it at about 30 to 35 points max. Even if you had 50 of them, 100 of them, it wouldn't matter. It's really not going to make it any worse. Okay? But there is a certain amount of hard inquiries that you have. Okay? Because banks are very jealous. They're very territorial. So if you've been searching for too much credit, quote unquote, then they are going to deny you because they are very jealous and territorial. If they see that you've been applying to a bunch of banks here and there, they're like, forget it. It's a lost cause, Now, that excuse of searching for too much credit will fall off around 3, 4, 5, and 6 months. All banks will. But at 3, 4, 5, some of those banks will start breaking it off and say, okay, well, that was a couple months ago, fine. But at 6 months, all banks will remove that excuse. And that's exactly the reason why every 6 months, you can repeat this process of being able to get up to $500,000 with interest rates as low as 0%. Getting the highest limits possible, the best terms and conditions, and up to 90% approval odds. Do you hear me on that? That is 9 times out of 10 when you apply, you will get approved. That's kind of a big deal, especially if you respect and appreciate your time and you get frustrated wasting time or getting denials. And then you look back and you're like, man, I spent all this time, energy, and efforts and I still get denied. You feel defeated, right? Well, you won't do that if you understand the rules to the game. And that's what we're teaching here, okay? So check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.com. Otherwise, make sure you are following us on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments or Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram. And in the bio, we have plenty of information and resources to be able to communicate with us and get the real truth, the facts, and get the support you need to meet you where you're at and where you're looking to go. You can book a free complimentary call where you'll sit down on a call with me or one of our team members to be able to bless you. Cool? With that being said, hard inquiries, again, they will, after about 9 to 12 months, that hard inquiry will no longer affect the FICO score anymore, but it could stay on there. It's supposed to fall off after 2 years. However, the 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they have 6 months, up to 6 months to remove it. So keep that in mind. Also, if it is coming up on 2 years, you can call these bureaus if it's even just a month prior and just ask them if they'll remove it. And sometimes they will, okay? So persistence is key. When there's a will, there's a way. But also, don't have too many hard inquiries. Okay, if you get a ton of hard inquiries, and maybe you're saying, Brandon, well, dude, when you get all this credit, of course, you said a mass apply and is an application sequence. When done correctly, you can get incredible results, but you're also applying for 10 to 50 plus applications over a 30-day time frame. So how are you not getting hard inquiries? Good question. You are getting hard inquiries, but what we are teaching you how to do is fix those hard inquiries. Remove that stuff. Delete it. As they come in, remove it. I haven't had a hard inquiry in 9, 10 years, okay? But I've had plenty of applications. I've had plenty of hard inquiries. I remove them as they come in, and you should too. Now, I hope that makes sense. If your FICO score is in the 600s, It's because you have late payments or derogatory and utilization is out the wazoo, most likely. All right. It's not crushing you. But again, if it's not attached to, like, if you got denied, you can remove the hard inquiry. If it's a business application and it doesn't show up underneath your personal, you can remove it. If you just applied to something and it hasn't showed up underneath your personal credit profile in the account section yet, it's not attached and you can remove it. Okay. When it's attached, what that means is you got the hard inquiry on there with the industry and the date, like an auto loan, and then you waited a month or two and that new account has showed up in the auto loan account section with the name, the date, and the industry type. Then it shows on the same credit report as attached, and it's harder to get removed. Not impossible, just more difficult. Okay. Let's talk about derogatory marks. Derogatory remarks are like bankruptcy, a collection, a charge off, a repossession, a court ordered, child support, student thing. Like there is a a bunch of different ways that like a hospital collection or a utility collection of some sort, a repossession, tax liens, judgments from the courts, a bunch of different things, right? So you want to realize if you have one of those, it's because you've had late payments prior to that. And maybe it's business, maybe it's late payments other places that, like a hospital bill, you're not going to get late payments on your credit report. But when you get a collection, it will go to collections and it will just show in the derogatory mark section. Now, this doesn't have a percentage attached to it, like the hard inquiries have 10% of your FICO attached to it, but it does make a huge impact. It will drop your FICO score 60, not 10. I wish it was 10. It's 60 to 100 points. Okay, that's a big, big deal. Okay, that's a big smack to the face. And banks don't like it. They don't like it. It's not good. So you don't want to pay those off. You want to delete those off. 9 times out of 10, you could just delete it, not pay it, and delete it. When it gets to this point, it's already too late and it's not worth paying, and it's not going to serve you. It's not going to fix the problem when you pay it. So don't pay it. And if you are going to pay it because you feel morally convicted to pay it, then I honor you. I respect that. But make sure that you get it in writing beforehand that it is paid upon deletion. You want to get a paid upon deletion letter before you pay it. You want to negotiate that and get it in writing, at least email, but something that you can use to send to the 3 bureaus just in case. Because if it's just verbal, you pay it, you're screwed. All they're going to do is report it to the credit bureaus that, hey, it's paid, there's a zero balance, nothing owed, but that doesn't mean it's going to fix it. It means that in 7-8 years, maybe it will make less of an impact. That's not good. That's a long time to wait. Like it's still hurting you and haunting you. So not what you want. But the good news again is we've had people with legitimate bankruptcies, collections over $100,000. We've had people over $1 million in collections get things deleted down to like $400,000 at this point. Still working on it, not done, but $600,000 off. We've had other people with a couple $100,000 deleted like that in 24 hours. As fast as 24 hours, we've seen incredible results. We've also seen legitimate good people with bankruptcies take 12 months. So at the end of the day, there's no guarantees when it comes down to any of this fixed stuff. And I know that's hard to hear and it sucks, but as bad as you want it and as bad as I want it for you, it's not up to you and I. It's up to the 3 main bureaus and thousands of these data companies that act like credit bureaus. But at the end of the day, all of these companies are data collecting companies. They pay for the data and they resell that data. And they want to keep it because they've already paid for it and they make money off of it. So when you're challenging and fighting for things to be removed, they don't want to. They're going to give stall tactics and try to fight back. But know this, when there's a will, there's a way. And it's only a matter of timing. Okay? That's the good piece. Like anything that is hurting your credit profile, that's derogatory, delinquent, that's not good, that's, beat up from the feet up on your credit profile, anything and everything can be removed, improved, and drastically changed for the better over a period of time. People just don't want to hear that over a period of time. That's not sexy. It doesn't sell, but it's the facts. It's the truth. And if anybody tells you otherwise, it's lies and it's illegal. It's illegal. You can't tell anybody some kind of like crazy time frames. You got to know the truth. You got to know the truth. And so, as bad as we all want it for you, the truth is it can take time, but don't give up because it's well worth the fight and you don't need to wait 6, 7, 8 years. But you do need to know the truth. Paying off these things isn't going to fix your profile. So I recommend delete it off. Usually, like a charge off, those banks, those credit cards that you owed money to, they are literally writing it off on their debt anyway, off like their taxes. And they're supposed to send you legally a 1099 as if you made that money. Only 10% of them do. Okay, less than 10% send you that. Most of them, 90% or more, will either sell it to a third party collection company that you've never done business with and you don't owe them money, but they try selling it to them for pennies on the dollar for them to hunt you down like a dog to be able to admit guilt to it, and you owe them now, which you don't. So don't answer the phone saying, yes, this is him or her, and how may I help you? Like, no, you don't do that. You say, may I ask who's calling? And what is this regarding? Wrong number. Leave me alone. Bye. That's how you want to handle it. But at the end of the day, make sure that you aren't paying these things, because the bank is trying to double dip or triple dip by writing it off on their taxes, not sending you the 1099 like they should. Sell it to a third party collection company to make pennies on the dollar off of that. And then also, if you go back to them to try to get more funding, they're going to say, well, you owe this money to us. And, some people pay it, so they get more money back from it. It's crazy. Don't fall into those traps. Okay. But again, when there's a will, there's a way. We've had good people with collections over 100K, bankruptcies, tax liens, all types of things, hospital bills, utility bills, all types of things get deleted as soon as 24 hours, a lot, 10 days, a couple months, you name it. When there's a will, there's a way. Don't give up on that piece, okay? Because it is going to help out drastically when that is cleaned up. Now let's talk about the last one, payment history. This is late payments. The biggest thing that I can tell you is just don't have them. And I know that's so easy to say, but number one, don't co-sign for anybody. I don't care if it's your friends, your family, your kids, don't do it. It's enabling, it's not beneficial, it's doing them a disservice, and they haven't earned it. Especially if they need a co-signer, it's probably because they messed up their credit in the past or they have none, and therefore they haven't earned that title yet. They haven't earned it. If they need somebody else to do some grown adult stuff, it's not a good fit. And so if you are going to do something like that, understand this. You must, and you must, no BS, you must be fully okay and accepting the fact that you are fully responsible for that debt as well. Meaning, look at it every single month and make sure that it is paid in advance. Because if it is not, you'll need to pay it. So if you're okay with that, then great, do it. I don't recommend it, but people do it all the time. Be okay with making those payments, because if you don't, then they will mess up your score and you'll just have the learning lesson of, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have co-signed for them. I didn't realize. I didn't see it. It wasn't my responsibility. It is if you're co-signing. So be aware of that and don't make those simple mistakes. I don't care how, if you're going to do something generous, just pay for the whole damn thing, or be okay with making those payments each and every month and build up both your guys' credit. But you gotta have that mindset going into it. Otherwise, credit cards, keep an eye on them. Mortgages, you usually have this grace period. Make sure that you're paying things off, not by the due date, but by the statement closing date. The statement closing date is typically 3 weeks in advance. Pay it off before then. You'll always have a low balance or your payment made in advance, which will help, and it gives you time. And so just verify that stuff. Put it on your calendar. Put it on auto pay. Triple check the auto pay. Don't just set it, forget it, and walk away for life. Triple check it, because things happen. I see good people all the time that were in the 800 club, have it on auto pay. Something happened with the bank. Something happened with the expiration date on the card. Something happened with the company that you're paying, and whatever the reason is, it is at the end of the day your responsibility. It's your responsibility. So it could be their fault, but it's your responsibility to make sure it goes through. And just because it's been set and forget for a long time doesn't mean that it's not your responsibility anymore. And you'll find out quickly how much of a responsibility it is when it drags down your credit profile. Again, a late payment can be 60 to 100 points as well. So now they do go off of, it's kind of like a numbers game. Like the more payments that you've made in the past, they will add those up. They'll divide it by how many negative accounts or how many late payments you have. And they'll see what the percentage is. But none of that really matters, because if you have a late payment within the last 4 years, it's hurting you. And banks are going to be cautious. Specifically within the first year, it's devastating. So I recommend calling in on your first, time is of the essence. When you get a late payment, call in, beg, plead, ask to speak to a supervisor, a manager, and ask for a one-time goodwill gesture. A one-time goodwill gesture to update it as paid as agreed. Paid as agreed. This is going to help, and it's a long shot, but it's a shot. And you hit none of the shots you don't take. So make sure that you're shooting your shot so that you can see. And it's well worth it, fight for that stuff. They might ask you to create a letter and submit it to a certain location. Do that, whatever it takes. Create a letter on AI, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. Figure that stuff out, because it matters. So don't sleep on that piece of it. But again, it's kind of broken down like this, the impact that it's going to make if you have a late payment. Your first year, it's devastating. And it's going to be very, very difficult to get any funding. Your second year, so year 1 to 2. So your first year, devastating. From after year 1 to year 2, it makes a little bit of a less impact. Like your score will go up a little bit, and some of the banks will start lending to you, but they're still going to have a lot of questions. They're going to still be curious and a little weary. Plenty of banks are going to still deny you, okay? Especially elite cards. And then lastly, the last category is after 2 years to 4 years, okay? So after 2 to 4, that is going to be, again, a little bit less on your FICO score impact-wise. Your score will go up a little bit more. It's getting a little bit more aged, but they're going to still have some questions. Some banks will lend a little bit more. You're going to need a good story and reason behind it, and let them know, hey, this is where you want to humanize. Hey, I lost a job. I had a death in the family. I was in the hospital. I was going through depression or all these other things, but this is what I've done to overcome this, and I promise you it'll never happen again. I have it on auto pay. I have a CPA. I have a bookkeeper's keeping an eye on it. I have reminders on my phone. I make more than enough. I'm in a very good place now. I have automations and AI. I'm verifying. I have, a CFO. All those things, right, would help your case. And promising and declaring, I have backup plans, so it will never happen again. Sometimes they want to hear that. The last category is after 4 years, if you have a late payment, just leave it alone. Don't touch it. It's not hurting your score anymore. Very few banks are going to ask questions behind it. If they do, again, use your story behind it, humanize with them. But understand this, it's not, you don't want to hit the bee's nest and kind of run off, because when you challenge any late payments over 4 years, it could show up as brand new, and start that whole 4-year process over again. So if it's past 4 years, just leave it and yeah, move forward. Okay. All right. That was a lot of fixing. Again, not sexy. I deep dived into all this stuff. So I hope this is relevant, makes sense. If you need any fixing help, we have AI software that can help do it. We have some fix packet information to help as well. We teach all of our members how to do this in Credit Counsel Elite. Again, we are a one-stop shop, all things related, not just fix, not just personal credit, not just boosting your score, not just business credit, not just the rules to the game and the foundation, not just your FICO score, not just leveraging and liquidating credit into cash, but leveraging investments, trust setup, bookkeeping, tax filing, you name it, right? Life insurance, as well as travel hacking. It's a one-stop shop, and you're doing it with us the whole time so that you can learn. So again, go to creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite to learn more information like this so that you're not falling behind. All right, time to catch up. So let's jump into build, right? After the fixing is done, you move on to build. And this is where I can show you step by step how to get to the 800 club in 30 days or less, guaranteed, after the fixing is done. Okay. So hear me out on this. As you can see right here. Oh, and I'm sorry. I don't know if I shared, but the payment history, it makes up 35% of your FICO. 35% of your FICO. That's a very, very big deal. Don't sleep on that piece. That's why you never want to have a late payment. All right. Now let's get into the build, right? You got 3 boxes. And as you can tell, you got 30% for credit card utilization. You got 10% for total accounts. And you got your average credit age. You got 15% right there. In total, all 3 of those for build make up 55% of your FICO. My friends, that's a very, very big deal. Very big deal. And so let's keep an eye on it, right? Let's talk about total accounts first. Total accounts is very easy. They want to see, it's not the old myth that we grew up with, thinking and assuming you only need 1 or 2 credit cards, maybe a third one on the backup, that you never use just for emergencies. No, the banks don't want that. That's a myth. That's a lie. They want to see that you can handle a good mixed use of credit. So they want to see at least 2 to 3 different type of accounts out of the 6 or 7. So there's personal loans, there's auto loans, there's mortgages, there's student loans, there's credit cards, there's retail cards, right? All 6 of those matter. So you don't need a student loan. You don't need a retail credit card. If you don't have them, don't get them. You don't need to be forced into that. I've heard people thinking like, oh, I need to get a mortgage that's going to help my credit profile. No, you don't need to. You don't need to. If you have 2 or 3 of total accounts, you just don't want to have only one, account, like just credit cards, just one retail card. That's it. No, that's not enough mixed use. Okay. So they want to see that you can manage and handle different types of credit, mixed use. Now, total accounts, it only makes up 10% of your FICO. Not a huge impact like hard inquiries, very little. But again, it does matter. You're going to be in the green when you hit 11 plus total accounts. You'll be in the best case scenario at 21 plus total accounts. 21. Isn't that crazy? It's not the myths we grew up with saying have 1 or 2. That's it. Maybe a third. No, they want to see 21 different type of accounts that you can handle, that are open, active, in good shape. That you can, after you close it, it still adds to your total account. So you're in good shape. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about credit card utilization. This makes up 30% of your FICO. Now, if you're above 50% utilization, it's going to crush your score, 60 to 100 points. If you get higher than that, you're really gambling with your destiny here. So understand this. If you're above 50% utilization, what you're going to want to do is freeze the 3 bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Freeze them. Why? Because they do soft pulls on your credit each and every month. And when they're doing soft pulls on it, and if they see that, man, you got maxed out credit cards over here, your score is not just dipping, but they're getting scared. Obviously, the bank that you have high utilization with, they can see themselves and see like, wow, this is high, this isn't good. But if they can't see all these other bank relationships that you have high balances with as well. And so if you do, they're going to start cutting ties. They're going to close your accounts. They're going to cut your limits. Right after you pay off the card, they'll cut your limit, a bunch of different nasty things. So you don't want to do that. If you plan on having high utilization for more than 2 or 3 months, freeze the 3 bureaus and get that taken care of so that they can't do, hard or soft pulls on your credit. And they can't see that you're struggling a little bit. Okay. Because faster and faster, we're seeing some good people mess up your whole plan of what you had by cutting the limits from the banks. Like they're just cutting your limits in half, or they're closing out accounts. Not good for you, especially when you're relying on them, right? The other thing is to be in a position that you're going to be in the green and to be able to complete a mass apply, get funding from these banks. And I'm talking massive amounts of funding. Then you want to be at least 29% or below. Now, it's not just on across the board with all of your personal credit cards, but it's also on individual credit cards, right? Like, yes, they're looking at both. They're looking at it as a whole, all of them. But if you have 1 or 2 cards that are maxed out, your score might be in a good position, which would look good, right? But they can see that, well, you have a couple of cards that are maxed out, not good. You could still get denied. So keep that in mind. To be in the best case, it's going to be 9% or below. A lot of people say 10%. No, 10% isn't. 30% isn't. You want to be at 30%, you're in the yellow. You're at 30% to 49%, you're in the yellow. So it's got to be under that. 29% or below, or 9% or below is going to put you in the absolute best. But if you want to know a little secret, I'll share it with you. The top 1% of the 1%, you're at 1 to 3%. Okay. You want to be at 1 to 3% on your utilization. Now, that doesn't mean pay interest. I never give anybody permission to pay interest. It also doesn't mean that, if you've had balances for a long time, you don't need to have 1 to 3%. You can just have several months of zero, paying it off in full before the statement closing date. However, if you never have any balances on your credit cards, and it's always 0% on your statement closing date, ask me how I know. Eventually they're going to start like, well, this isn't good, right? And so leave a little bit of something on some of these cards, and again, pay it off by the due date so you don't pay any interest, but leave a little something on there so that it can show. And of course, always use your cards at least once per year so that you don't risk them closing it. If you don't use it, you lose it. That can be true with credit cards, so make sure you use it at least once a year. What else for utilization? It makes up 30% of your FICO. It's a big, big deal. So keep that in check. The statement closing date is every 30 days. There's an opening date. There's a 30 days later, there's a statement closing date. And then 3 weeks later after that, there's the due date. The due date, you have to make your payment or else you get late payments and interest, right? So don't do that. That's stupid. Don't make the minimum. That's stupid. Especially if you have money in savings. Don't be a dum-dum just because it feels good in savings. Pay off your credit card. Your credit card is your savings. You can use that for emergencies or whatever, okay? Don't pay interest. The call fees are already expensive. You don't need to double or triple that. It's ridiculous. So also focus on your spending habit. Just because you have a credit card doesn't mean that it's free money. What I like to do to build good routines and good habits is use it kind of like a debit card. Again, never use a debit card. Debit cards are worse. They put you at risk. You could get scammed easier, and that's your bank account, like a lot of money, no good. Credit cards come with protection, points, and etc., and credit limit increases. So you want that, right? Now, with the credit cards, what was I going with this? Oh man, I just spaced out. Something with debit cards. I got sidetracked. But yeah, at the end of the day, what you're going to want to do is just focus on using these cards properly. Oh, what I was going to say. Okay, sorry. I knew it would come back, right? All right, so when you're using your cards to build that good routine in the beginning, is use it like a debit card. Basically, use it during the day. At the end of the night, transfer from your bank account to pay off your credit card right away. So every day, you're just clearing it out, and it's leaving your bank account. Therefore, you have a low balance and you're just using it, and you're making multiple payments for your payment history. It's going to help. And at the end of the day, it helps build that relationship stronger, faster, and so forth. So just keep that stuff in mind. It can be really, really beneficial for you. But yeah, make sure that you don't get carried away. You're buying good debt, not bad debt. Stay within your means. Don't go on stupid vacations that you can't afford. Don't, if you're in Credit Counsel Elite, you'll learn how to travel hack. So the first class flights, the car rentals, and the hotels, penthouse suites, all that stuff's free. That's a cool part. The food there, free. All that experience, that's free. But all you have to pay for on trips when you're traveling is the food, and for like the nice out restaurants and so forth, and then the excursions, like the fun stuff. So that is always worth it, but you don't want to go into bad debt. Let the business pay for that. You want to leverage smart capital, 0% interest debt to be able to start a business, grow a business, scale a business, or invest in real estate with us so that we can show you how to get passive income and get dividends, right? All right, the last one is going to be your average credit age. Now, this is 15% of your FICO, making up the trifecta here, all three, 55% of your FICO. Now, this is where we talk about how to boost up to get to the 800 club in 30 days or less. It's focusing on authorized users, but hear me out. Let me teach you on this. The average credit age, how they're doing it is, number one, if you're below 5 years average credit age, you're in the red. As you can see, this is 4, that you're in the red. Now, when you're at 5 to 7 years, you're in the yellow. Okay. You don't want to do a mass apply, an application sequence, if you are in the red. You got to be at least 5 and above. But to be in the green, you want to be at 7 plus. To be in the best case scenario, it's 9 years plus. Okay. So you want to get there, and it's very, very doable. But hear me out. What they're doing is adding up all of your accounts. And it's not just credit cards, it's all accounts, all total accounts that you have in the total account section on the personal side. Not business, just personal. So the auto loans, the student loans, the credit cards, the retail cards, the personal loans, business loan, or not business loans, mortgages, car rentals, not car rentals, auto loans. I'm like getting delirious here. But all of those, you want to add together how old that account is. If it's been closed, you still add it, but only if it's been closed for 10 years or less. If it's been closed for 11 years, you don't add that age anymore. Okay, so keep that in mind. If it's more than 10 years, you don't add that age. But if it's been closed for 10 years or less, you do add that age. Okay, so you're adding all of the open accounts, of course, and then any closed accounts that are less than 10 years. So if it's been open for 5 and closed for 5, that's 10 years that you're adding into this equation here. So you're adding all of this age together from all these accounts, and then you're dividing that age by the number of all the accounts you just added together to get your average credit age. And so that's where you can figure this out, and it's all math. But you might be saying, okay, Brandon, well, it looks like I need a lot of age because I have a lot of new cards in the last couple of years, which have brought down, or a lot of new mortgages and new auto loans, new accounts that have brought down my average credit age. And now it's hurting me. Well, how do I, and especially when you go and get a bunch of funding later on, you get 25, 50, new accounts, it's going to bring down my average credit age. How do I go back in time and use the time travel to be able to add some, accounts so now it would be aged enough? Well, you can't go back in time, but what you can do is piggyback off of somebody else's. And it is an industry. It's a business. You can go online and search some of these. You can ask some friends and family when you educate them properly, or you can use our resources as our members in Credit Counseling Elite. We have an arsenal of different options for you to be able to purchase authorized users or get them for free. We teach it numerous times within our program how to get them for free. And what you're going to want to do is realize that it is all about the math. You don't want to add a 19-year-old authorized user when in fact you need a 20-year-old authorized user. It's going to make no impact. It's not going to help you. You're still behind, So it's all about the math. So the math doesn't lie. Even just going to, if you're not a member, we have tools inside as a member of Credit Counseling Elite. It's the MVP tool that will do the math for you. Otherwise, and it'll help you keep organized and stationary, and bank rules, bank policies, all that stuff to make it very easy. So otherwise, on our website, creditcounselingelite.com, that's www.com, there's a resource tab at the very top. And you can use the AU calculator right there by plugging in all of your information and then being able to see, hey, do I add a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old account, and can I get access to that? And where's it going to bring my average credit age? So you can play around with that calculator, see what the math is. Math don't lie. So focus on that. That will definitely help out. But again, you want to aim for 9 years average credit age. And it basically looks like this. An authorized user is like one of my accounts that I've had for a long time, right? Now you can say you need a 20 or a 30-year-old account, right? Just one to be able to get you to 9 years. Or maybe you need 2 different accounts with a total of 30 or 60 years average credit age. In total, you need 60 years out of 2 accounts. That's either, 2 cards, one of them is 40 years, the other one is 20, or that's 2 cards that are 30 years each. It's just math. It's nothing crazy, right? So what you would do is you would ask me, or you would ask grandma or whoever else, and make sure that they have no late payments, derogatory or delinquent on their credit card they're about to add you to. And it's got to have a very low balance, okay? You don't want it to be maxed out because whatever is on that credit profile is going to show up underneath your credit profile, whatever's on that credit card. So for example, I could have a bankruptcy, collections, derogatory, all types of negative accounts, but that one card that I'm about to add you to has nothing late, nothing derogatory. It's in good standings. It's got a high limit. It's been aged very long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add your full name, your date of birth, and your social. And then I'm going to add my phone number and my address on it. And that new card is going to show up with your name on it to my address. I'm going to call it, activate it, cut it up, and throw it away. Okay. But it's going to show up in the next 30 days or less by the statement closing date. That's when it reports to the three bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. It's going to report there. And that good credit card history is going to show up underneath your credit profile now, which is going to help all three of those boxes. It's going to lower some of your utilization as a whole. But again, if you have any primary cards that are maxed out, you still got to take care of that. It's going to increase your total accounts. Right now, it's at 15 on this example. It's going to bring it to 16 if it was just one. You want to get to 21 plus total accounts, right? So you would want to add 6 more right here. The average credit age, you want to get to, it's at 4 years right now. Whatever the math is to be able to get to 9 years average credit age, you want to add that on there and watch what it will do. This will help you go from the low 7s to mid 700s to the 800 club in 30 days or less, guaranteed, because the statement closing dates come around every 30 days. Say you just missed a statement closing date on my credit report and I just added you. Well, it just reported yesterday. You got to wait another 29 days before it reports again. Typically, it's not like that, and it will, the odds are in your favor that in the next week or 2-3 weeks, like there's going to be a statement closing date coming around that you just got added to that it's going to reflect and it's going to help out. So worst case scenario, it's within 30 days. So anyway, all of this to say, when there's a will, there's a way. You fix first, you build later, you boost your score up to the 800 club. These are the 6 boxes. There's 10 metrics that make it all up. It really, really matters. And this is stuff that should have been taught in school. And just because it wasn't doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's your fault either, but it is your problem. And so when it's meant to be, it's up to you and me, right? We've all heard that. At the end of the day, it just comes down to like, let's lock this in. Let's stop playing games and let's get the facts, the truth. So that stuff will set you free. It is the foundation that needs to be understood. Don't sleep on this. You can't outsource your push-ups, right? As bad as we want that fat loss magic pill and just instant gratification, there's no overnight success Instagram model. The likelihood of you hitting the lottery is next to none. It's not going to happen. So stop looking for it and start putting in the reps. Start putting in the hard work. Doesn't mean that it's not impossible, but you need to get the training. An Olympic gold medal winner, they're not doing it by themselves. They're not doing their push-ups by themselves. They hire on somebody that's already been there and done it, that's already been to the Olympics. They got a dream team around them. You can hire on a trainer, a nutritionist, an accountability partner, get blood work done. You can optimize all areas to be able to maximize your results and ensure that you get these results. So it just comes down to how bad do you really want it? This isn't something that you just hire somebody else out to care about your family, your future, your finances. They're not going to care. Nobody will, except you. So understand it first, and then down the road, you can elevate and delegate, perhaps, as a good business owner. But you still need to manage. You still need to have right expectations. Otherwise, you're just thinking you can outsource everything in your life, and that's not the case. All right? So anyway, I say it with love. I hope this gives inspiration today. I hope this matters and it makes sense to you, because what it can do for you is incredible. You can literally get massive amounts of funding from these banks when you understand this foundation and you start dialing in these rules. All right? So stop playing on it and start picking up, because this is real life Monopoly. Real life Monopoly. You are already playing real life Monopoly. You just don't realize that you're playing it. You don't realize the rules to the game. So you're missing out on the rules to the game, and that's why you're getting denied. That's why you're getting low limits. That's why you're shaking your head like, why is it taking so long? Why does this bank suck? This bank sucks. They don't suck. You suck because you don't understand the rules. You're shooting yourself in the foot every time. Again, it's not your fault, but it is your problem. Just because you didn't know before today, about this problem, and I brought it to surface, now you know. So it's always in your court now. What are you going to do about it? I encourage you, check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www, and wait no longer. At least sit down with us so that we can give you a free roadmap to figure out where you're currently at and where you're looking to go. So you got nothing to lose, so much to gain. All right. We have our guarantee. It's our pledge. It's our warranty. We work with you until you're happy, satisfied, and a raving fan. We've been doing this since 2017, but I didn't just like Jack in the Box just pop up, like I've been doing this myself for me and my family since 2011. 2015, I started changing my life, buying real estate and starting and growing businesses with it. 2017, I had enough of those businesses and I had more time freedom, financial freedom. And I had a lot of people just saying like, hey, Brandon, teach me. And I did, free, complimentary. And then eventually it started taking up my time and they're getting incredible results that it was worth charging. And it's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding, but we've invested hundreds of thousands, millions into our team, into the time, energy, and efforts to build out what excellence really looks like. And that's why since 2017 and not even running any ads to the public until 2021, that's how we've helped out over 4,000 members, and our average is 370,000 per member. Nobody else is doing that in the space. I guarantee that. Like, mark my words on that. So we've had members hit over $1 million. We've had plenty of members anywhere from 500 to $1 million. Our lowest is 200,000. That's worth being noted. All right. That's still a big, big deal. All right. So anyway, I say it with love. I hope this is impactful today. I know it is. All right. It's your choice whether or not you give it the time, energy, and efforts that it deserves for you, your family, and your finances. So we'll see you on the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you get the newest notification. Leave a 5-star review. And again, follow us on Instagram. That's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram. Follow us. Check out the bio. We got some cool things for you on there. All right. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining.